Good morning, and welcome to the Unitarian Church of Los Alamos. My name is Bill Podorsky, and I'm the president of the board for the church year just beginning. When the time came to find a president for this year's board, I knew it was my year to serve. It's indeed a significant responsibility, and it asks of me a gift of time, but I also consider this role to be an opportunity for my own spiritual growth, serving in a new way and getting to know you, the body of the church, in new ways. Our mission and vision is foremost in my mind. I want to help us come together as a congregation and reach out together to the communities we're part of. I remember our late minister, Dale Arnick, as we built this building several years back now, inspiring us as to what the building was about. We were building the building not just for us, but building a building so we could throw the doors open to the community. Life can be busy, and mine is particularly so by choice, with so much to do and outdoor adventures and serving the communities I'm part of and in continuing the scientific exploration that's engaged me since I was a child. So, because I'm so busy, church is particularly important for me because it's a time set aside to consider the big questions of life. Time that would be hard for me to set aside without the structure of the church and the support of you, my fellow congregants. As Unitarian Universalists, we affirm and promote the inherent worth and dignity of all people and gather together in a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. Whoever you are, whoever you love, wherever you are at this moment, wherever you are on your life's journey this morning, you are welcome into this community. I'd like to extend a special welcome to any visitors or first-time guests we have among us this morning. Our minister, the Reverend John Cullinan, would love to meet you after the service as we gather for coffee and conversation in the fellowship hall and answer any questions you might have about our community. New parents are invited to speak with Tina DeYoe, our Director of Lifespan Religious Education, and we are thrilled to have Tina just back from her sabbatical. There are many options for young children in worship this morning. For our youngest members and visitors, there's nursery care available down the hallway just past the restrooms. Our nursery coordinator, Sarah Hammond, would be happy to check you in. Children are also welcome up front, and I see they've figured this out already, in the young worshipers space, at the table, on the rug, or at our intention table. And you may continue to sit with your parents here in the sanctuary or in our quiet space in the library. And now, please take a moment to center yourself, breathe deeply in and out, and let us begin.
Let us be a faith that gathers, reaching for one another through the walls of hate others build, through the cages of ignorance and arrogance, and through the fear that burns city streets. Let us be a faith that sees a vision of a better world, more compassionate, more just, more holy, and with more love. There is a faith that binds up the broken, cauterizes battle wounds with the balm of peace, sings longer and louder than the trumpets of war. Let us be that faith too. Let us be the ones who do not tread lightly in this world, but light it up with our love, who hold up the mirror of worth and dignity, who are the sanctuary others seek. But first, let us be a faith that worships together, here, this morning, in this space, at this moment. Let us be that faith. Come, let us worship together on this beautiful morning. Would you all please rise in body or spirit and join in our opening hymn, number 322. Please remain standing and join in our affirmation. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve life in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow in harmony. Thus do we covenant with each and with all. Please be seated. For all our joys and all our sorrows, whether we share them aloud with one another or we hold them close and quiet to our hearts, let us be with one another now in a moment of silence. Please join with me now in a spirit of prayer and reflection. Eternal and beloved, gracious source of all life and all love, we come together this morning grateful for this time out of time, which we have set apart so that we might become more fully present to ourselves, to each other, to our communities, to that which we call holy. May our joys be celebrated together, our wounds be healed together, our hearts be opened together. Spirit of life and love which holds us, we gather in reverence and thanks. We are grateful for the gift of another breath and for each moment of connection, beauty, and truth. Cry with us in our pain for our world. Remind us that we are loved just as we are. Remind us that we are connected with all that is. Remind us that we do not journey alone. Give us what we need for today. Call us back to our promises, commitments, and values. Help us love ourselves and each other, and to show that love in our actions. Make us instruments of justice, equity, and compassion. Free us from all that is evil. We declare that life and love are stronger than tyranny and fear, that a world of beauty and love is coming, and we must shape it together. All this we pray in the names of those known and unknown, present and absent, remembered and forgotten, in the names of all the helpers of humankind. Amen.
right, good morning. I would like to invite all the young or young at heart to come forward. You guys can sit up here on this carpet for a Time for All Ages story this morning, and we're going to act it out. We have some actors with us this morning to help us tell this awesome story. But before we begin, I want to know, raise your hand, if some of you have superpowers. Raise your hand. Do you guys have superpowers? Anyone? Anyone? Think they got some superpowers? Yeah? You what? Oh, autism is my superpower. Heck yeah! That's awesome. Love it, Liam. Awesome. Cool. So yeah, we're going to talk about superpowers this morning. And like I said, we got some awesome actors to help us. So yeah. All right. This is a story called Amelia. Hi, Amelia. Hi. And her super magical powers. So this is the story of a young girl named Amelia. Hi. Amelia, this is her real name too, actually, if y'all didn't know. Amelia was fascinated by tales of people with superpowers, like Wonder Woman or Batman or Supergirl. She yearned to have powers like that so she could help people. Like the boy she often saw sitting all alone at lunch, looking very sad.
Oh, if I had superpowers, I could make him smile.
Hold the microphone up to your mouth a little bit. There you go. She said to herself. Or the little kids who were being picked on in the schoolyard by an older girl.
If I had superpowers, that would straighten her out real quick.
She said, and whenever she walked past the old rundown park near her house, she imagined how magic powers could fix it up so kids had a nice place to play. One night, just as Amelia was about to fall asleep, a fairy godmother came into her room.
Hello, Amelia. I'm here to grant you a wish. What is your wish? I wish to have super magical powers so I can help people. Thank you.
Cried Amelia, and with that, she fell right asleep. The next morning, when Amelia woke up, she remembered what had happened the night before. She jumped out of bed, eager to get going and test out her new superpowers. As she walked to school, she realized she'd forgotten to ask what she needed to do to release those powers. You know, say some secret words, wave a magic wand, or something else. But she decided she'd figure it out as she went along. So, that day at lunch, she saw the same sad boy sitting by himself at lunch.
Time to try some magic,
she said as she wiggled her fingers at a distance from him. Nothing.
Maybe I need to be closer,
she thought. So she walked closer to him. He looked up at her. She couldn't help but give him a friendly smile. And when she did, his face beamed with his own huge smile.
Can I sit with you? Join you for lunch?
Sure, he said, smiling even bigger. The two of them laughed and talked all during lunch. She learned his name was Bobby. He'd lost his father earlier in the year, and he and his mother had moved here after that. He didn't know anyone and was too shy to go up to kids and talk. Well, Amelia and Bobby became good friends, and Bobby smiled a lot from then on. One day, soon after that, Amelia and Bobby were in the playground when they saw Karen bullying two younger kids by the swings. She'd read what to do about bullies, but she had never tried any of it before because she wasn't really sure she could do it. But now, with her superpowers, she was ready.
Come on, Bobby, let's go help those kids.
So they walked up to where Karen stood over the two children, and Amelia wiggled her fingers at her and said loudly,
"Stop!"
And then, come on,
Dodie and...
My name is Lou.
Dodie and Lou. You are safe with me and Bobby.
So after the four of them had left, Amelia had told the two, if she bothers you again,
just ignore her or walk away. And if she keeps bothering you, tell Mr. Crenshaw.
They did just as Amelia said, and Karen never bothered those kids again. Well, by now, Amelia was feeling pretty good about her super magic powers. How can I use them?
How can I use my powers to help fix up that old park?
She wondered. Wiggling her fingers didn't work. She still didn't know any magic words. Maybe
if I just start picking up some of the trash, maybe something will come to me.
So she grabbed a trash bag, went to the park, started picking up the trash that had been left there. Before long, a couple friends came by and asked what she was doing.
I'm just picking up some of the trash so that maybe we can play here again.
That sounded like a great idea to her friends, and they began to help. Soon, other kids joined them. They picked up trash, pulled weeds, and cleared out dead brush. Little by little, the park began to look better. When some of the parents saw the improvements, they decided to help too. Some mowed the grass, others built picnic tables, and still others convinced the city to buy some new equipment. It was hard work and it took many days, but they got their new park. When it was all done, the whole neighborhood had a picnic in their new park to celebrate it. After the picnic, yay, picnic! After the picnic, Amelia felt exhausted and fell right into bed. She was just about to sleep when that fairy godmother came back.
Oh, I forgot. I wanted to say thank you for giving me these super magical powers.
Well, you're welcome, but I didn't actually give you any powers. I forgot to tell you my wand was broken.
But then how did I make Bobby smile and stop Karen from bullying those kids and fix up the park?
My child, those are 3 superpowers you've had all along. Kindness, bravery, and determination. Using those powers, you've helped make the world a better place.
And with that, Amelia fell fast asleep. And that is our story. Give our actors a round of applause. Thank you. Yeah.
So our next hymn is If I Had a Hammer. And so it's our superpower of having a hammer and a bell and a song to sing. So I'm actually going to ask you all to sing along with me. So we'll do that. If I had a hammer, I'd hammer in the morning, I'd hammer in the evening, all over this land. I'd hammer out danger, I'd hammer out warning, I'd hammer out the love between my brothers and my sisters, all over this land. Ooh, if I had a bell, I'd ring it in the morning, I'd ring it in the evening, all over this land. I'd ring out danger, I'd ring out warning, I'd ring out the love between my brothers and my sisters, all over this land. Ooh, if I had a song, I'd sing it in the morning, I'd sing it in the evening, all over this land. I'd sing out danger, I'd sing out warning, I'd sing out the love between my brothers and my sisters, all
I was, I think, about 6 years old when the first of the Christopher Reeve Superman movies came out, and needless to say, with a young and impressionable mind, I was hooked. I was enchanted, I was enraptured, and I wanted to be able to fly just like him. And a few years later, when the first comic book store opened up in my hometown, I was in it as soon as it opened, poring over the shelves, looking at all the treasure, finding all the new stories and all the new heroes that I hadn't even read about or seen before, looking at the wide variety of superpowers out there. I was obsessed from that young age with having superpowers. I used to imagine myself in superhero roles. My powers would shift from week to week depending on what I thought maybe was the coolest one or the most useful one in the moment, because there were always things going on around me that needed some fixing. And I was just a 5-year-old boy, a 6-year-old boy, and what could I fix? Who knew? But if I had powers, man, I could fix a lot of things. Now, that dream of having superpowers, I will admit, has been a little moderated by age. 50 years have settled me down a little bit. I still imagine myself with superpowers from time to time. When things get really hard, when the world seems like it's too much at too much of a time. But I know I'm never going to be able to fly, as convenient as that would be, especially with all the gas that I spend on. I know I'll never be invisible or be able to have fire shooting out of my fingertips or have super strength to be able to lift my car over my head when I have to repair the undercarriage over and over again. I know I don't have a chance for those powers, but hindsight being hindsight, maybe I had some after all. Maybe I just needed to lower my expectations a little bit about what a superpower was and what I was capable of in hard and challenging times. Maybe I had become a superhero without knowing it. Maybe I'd had my origin story already, because that's where every superhero starts, with that origin story, that myth. Peter Parker gets bitten by a radioactive spider and has the powers of a spider and becomes Spider-Man, or the last son of a dying planet is shot off in a rocket ship for a chance to live and winds up on a planet where the sun gives him powers greater than anybody else on Earth. Young Bruce Wayne sees his parents murdered in front of him, and even though he doesn't get superpowers, he dedicates his life to disciplining himself, mind and body, in order to fight crime and prevent that from happening to any other child again. A brave man crashes his airplane and finds a crashed spaceship in the middle of the desert, and the dying alien sees him as worthy and gives him an artifact of great power that he can then use to fight the forces of evil, not just on Earth, but all over the universe. And then there's me, at the age of 5, getting bit by a radioactive theater bug and just following that path for a good long time, and at the same time being extremely interested in religion and thinking about being a minister. Even from a very young age, I headed off into the sacred sanctuary, the temple of knowledge called Marquette University, where the secret society of Jesuits taught me the disciplines of spirit and mind and sent me out. And then, like any great superhero, as your powers start to come into being, you're presented with a choice. Will you use them for your own personal gain, or will you use them to benefit everyone around you. And then you start to meet the shadow side that comes with your power, the shadows that encroach, that need your power. In this world today, the shadows are unlimited id, the cynicism we approach the world with when things feel like they're just unmanageable, the shadows of cruelty and indifference. You start to wage a battle against the shadows with the little bit of power you have and the little bit of understanding you have about how those things work. And sometimes in those early battles, the superhero does not win the fight. They get beaten down. They start to question whether or not their powers are actually worth anything. And in those moments, you meet your mentors, the people who see within you what power you have and how to wield it in better ways. My mentors in theater and improv, teaching me to hone my skills. All of my mentors and my teachers in seminary, teaching me to hone that sense of call to ministry, building me up, making me sharper. And then, like every great superhero story, knocked down though they may be, they get back up again. And they jump back into the fight against the shadows with a little more skill and a little more strength and a deeper understanding of who they are and what they're meant to do. And then they learn that even though they possess mighty powers, sometimes the shadows are bigger than they expected. Sometimes the shadows gang up together, and at that point, you know you need allies. You need friends. You need others who can help you with their own powers fight the bigger fight, battle up against the bigger shadows. We need a crossover series sometimes. We need to have a mega team. We need to assemble the Avengers in order to fight the bigger battles. Because every superhero, super or ordinary, has power, but it's limited. Super, but very, very niche. We see all kinds of archetypes arise within the superhero pantheon. There is the paragon, the one who stands for bigger ideals and believes in them so wholeheartedly they inspire people to follow and to take up those values as well. There's the brick, the strong one, the one who can take on the damage and stand between those who have less resilience than they do. You have the energy projectors, the people who possess some great force of will within themselves or energy that they can project out into the world. And you have the speedsters, the quick ones, the ones who can do everything at the speed of light and get things done when time is of the essence. And then you have the gymnast. And yes, I know Peter Parker also has the spider powers, but he can also find his way to safety and see the pathways to get him and others there. And then there's the gadgeteer and the inventor, someone who maybe doesn't have a superpower, but somebody who is incredibly smart and inventive and can take on the superpowers that are given to him by the tools that they build. And there are the God-touched, those who come with a sense of mythology and a close connection to greater powers than maybe we understand and use them for justice and for right. And the mentalist who is in tune with the thoughts of others and knows what's going on in the minds of friends and even in the minds of the shadows. And the mystic, the ones who can see beneath the surface of the world to the deeper mechanics of how things connect and can be transformed. And the patriot, not in the way that we might hear the word today, my country, right or wrong, but the patriot who understands at a soul level the values that their country stands for and will always fight for, even when others try to tear those values down. And the feral heroes, the ones who are more in touch with nature, perhaps, than anyone else is. They bridge the gap between the natural world and the human world in a way that others cannot. Or the android, the one who is trying to suss out what human emotion might be about, but can see the world in different ways and different patterns and contribute plans the ways others cannot. Or the mastermind, the one who can see the big picture, the one who can draw up the big plans based on what they know about the people they are working with. And the jester, because we always need the trickster. We need someone who can see the humor in everything when times are hard, who can bring the joy back into the group when the chips are down, who can tell hard truths to people in ways that they will accept them and hear them. And these heroes possess perhaps more than one of these archetypes at any one time. But the thing is, every one of those gifts is needed in tandem. More often than not, they need to assemble and work in teams. Every power has a part to play in transforming the world for the better, in fending off the shadows. And so it is too with us. The shadows converge. We're getting more fearful. We worry about the future. We feel overwhelmed and we don't know what to do. But each one of us has a superpower to contribute in these times. If you are here today, I'm going to assume in part that it's because you're looking for change. You're feeling called to make a difference in the world, either to your own self, trying to bring forth that better self, or in the world around you, because you know somebody has to. And we struggle in that call to make a difference. What exactly do? I want to make a change, but I don't know where to start. How do I even act in a way to make those changes? Do I even really have a part in this, or am I just fooling myself? Is my power enough to begin to make that difference? And that's the moral of our story this morning with Amelia and her super magical powers. She didn't even realize what she had within her, but she brought it forth all the same and made differences in the world, one person at a time, one relationship at a time, one encounter at a time. And this is our call as well. The forces of apathy, of cynicism, of selfishness, of hatred are amassing more and more, are getting louder and bigger and more prevalent. So even an ordinary power, the power of your kindness, the power of your mind, the power of your body, the power of your spirit. All of those are superpowers in the face of so many shadows. Even the ordinary becomes super. So I want you to think today, what is my origin story? At what point in my life did I find a moment where I made a difference with a little bit of strength and power I didn't even know I had? What was that moment? What was the power you found within yourself to make a difference in somebody's life? How were you called into the hero's journey? And what power have you found within all those struggles with the shadows? Are you the energy projector? Finding within yourself the power for kindness or love or a passion to do something that you're not able to just harness within yourself, but cast out into the world for others to grab a hold of? Are you the gymnast? Can you see the pathways to the other side of hard times, to a place of safety? Can you navigate those pathways and blaze them for others to follow? Or are you the gadgeteer? Are you able to see how systems work and build new things within them and invent new ways of struggling and surviving and even winning? Or are you the mentalist? Are you in tune with others around you in such a way that you understand what they are feeling? You can feel what they feel. You can see how their minds work and know how to bring people together across all their various ways of learning. Are you the metamorph? Like Mr. Fantastic, able to stretch and adapt in any situation to become what is needed at any given moment? Are you one of the God-touched, in tune and connected to the Spirit in ways that others might not be able to find? Connected to our sense of faith and our values in ways that you can hang on to and hold up? Are you one of the mystics? Can you see beneath the surface of life to the way things work, to the mechanics underlying everything, to touch them and access them? Or are you the mastermind? Can you see how the pieces all fit together? Can you recognize the gifts in others even when they can't see them for themselves? Can you inspire them to come together to work with you, to build something that is bigger than any one of us? Or are you the jester? Because we need the tricksters, the ones who can hang on to joy even in the hardest times, the one who can spread it out amongst the people they love and they work with side by side. The people who can see when things aren't going well or the plan is not working and can tell the hard truth in ways that are loving and compassionate that others can hear. We've all got a bit of that power within us. We all have something that burns deep, a spark within us that we can give to one another in challenging times. We are all super, in a way. Even if we don't have a fairy godmother with a broken wand to fulfill our wishes of flight or energy or any of that. Don't need radioactive spiders. Don't need the light of a different sun. Just need to know yourself on a deep level and understand what you can give. because all of us are needed. The shadows are too big. They're encroaching more and more. They're getting louder and louder, and it's going to need all of us and all of our power. Whether we're gathering together as a team in a hall of justice, or we're gathering together as a congregation in the halls of a church. This church, for example, dedicated to the values of truth and justice and the loving way, needs our superpowers to persevere, to amplify our values, to push back against the shadows. So what's your role on the team, friends? What is within you can bring forth? What's your superpower?
As we prepare to return to our daily lives, it's time to give something of the gifts of this community back to the larger community we're part of. It's time for the offering. During the month of July, 100% of all cash and undesignated funds that we collect today will be given to this month's community partner, Strong in Nature. The church has its budget. That budget goes by various ways and by various channels. But what happens today? The gifts you give today are part of this church reaching out to the community. So who is Strong in Nature? They work with survivors of sexual and domestic violence to help heal through outdoor adventure programs, focusing on renewing a sense of self-worth, expanding support systems, and trying new things. Meanwhile, they lead workshops that teach the wider community the skills and strategies necessary to help reduce the risk of violence, including lessons in consent, boundaries, and bystander intervention. You may place your gift in the baskets this morning or use your Giveify app, selecting this month's partner. This offering will now be accepted. May what you give bring you joy and into deeper relationship with this community.
When we give, we say yes to something we value. With these gifts, which we have freely given and gratefully received, we say yes to the values of our faith. May these gifts help us live and serve our faith within and beyond our church walls. We dedicate these gifts to the values and the vision we share. Important announcements and upcoming events can be found on the back page of your order of service, through our email announcements list, on our Facebook page, and our monthly newsletter, The Voice. But a few to point out today. Once again, we are doing an information booth at the summer concert series. We're going to try it out a couple of times during this series, and the first one's coming up this Friday, July 28th. We will have a booth set up with our brochures and ways to sign up for the mailing list and information about renting the building. If you would like to take part in talking up the church, in talking up what this faith means to you in your life right now, if you are feeling capable of inviting someone into our community, please consider taking some time out at the booth. Patrick Webb is coordinating the booth. Thank you very much, Patrick. So go talk to him in coffee hour if you would like to spend some time on a Friday evening listening to the music and talking about the Unitarian Church of Los Alamos. 2 Sundays from today, we will be having a community potluck after the service. It is a grains and greens potluck. Yes, we are asking you to bring breads or other things. Barb Franzak is organizing that as well. If you talk to her in coffee hour, I'm sure she'll be happy to tell you what you can bring and how you can help out with that. We will be participating in the county fair once again, also with an information booth. We picked up the permit this week to do that. Again, with brochures, mailing list sign-ups, information about renting the building, information about what this faith tradition is. If you would like to talk up your place here, about what it means to you, if you feel capable of inviting complete strangers to come and join us at church the following Sunday for our new welcome service, please consider signing up for some time. There is a sign-up genius online. I sent the link out for that on Thursday, and I will send it out again this afternoon so that you can sign up for a time slot. It'll be operating from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. We'll also need a little bit of help around 9:30 to get things set up at Ashley Pond. And August 13th, the day after the county fair, is that welcome service that I talked about. We are going to do our best to invite people in the community to come join us, to come experience some of the basics of Unitarian Universalism, and after which I will be teaching my Introduction to Unitarian Universalist workshop after the service, about 90 minutes on history and values and what we stand for. You can invite complete strangers if you're sitting over at the booth or whenever you feel like it. But I also ask you to consider inviting a friend. A healthy number of the people who come to church for the first time don't come because of the website, don't come because they saw an ad in the paper, don't come because I've been reaching out. They come because someone they know and love has invited them to come to church with them, to be part of the community, to see what it's all about. So think about your friends and your loved ones, the ones you know might feel a deep connection here, ones you would love to see here week after week, and consider inviting them to church any week, but also that welcome service as well. And it doesn't even need to be a newcomer. We have plenty of friends and loved ones who we haven't seen here in a while. And perhaps what they're waiting for after we've gotten out of this habit of church throughout the pandemic, perhaps all they're waiting for is a friend to say, "Hey, I miss seeing you. Can we come together next week?" Take some time to invite someone in. And last but not least, Saturday, August 19th, brings us the return of dinner and a movie night, and it is about time. Our film for the 19th is one of my all-time favorites, Begnaud from 1996. It is the story of brothers running an Italian restaurant and trying to be as authentic to themselves as they can be, and all of the stuff that happens around family and those struggles to be authentic. We will kick off at 5:30 with a lovely Italian dinner prepared by Felicia Orth. We're going to be asking a $15 donation for the dinner this time because the cost of groceries has gone up, unfortunately, and we need to be able to cover that. The movie itself will begin at 6:30, and admission for that is free if you just want to come to the movie. And then the following Sunday on the 20th, I will take up the themes of family and authenticity in the movie for our sermon that day. So please do join us, and welcome back dinner and movie night. And now would you all please rise once again in body or spirit and join us in our closing hymn, number 118. Friends, may life bless us and keep us. May the light of life shine upon us and out from within us and be gracious to us and bring us peace. For this is the day. This is the one wild and precious life we have been given. So let us all find a way to rejoice and be glad in it. Go in peace.